Also drafted to SmackDown, Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair. And if she and Rhea Ripley both retain their titles at Backlash, and Rhea goes to Raw, we're probably getting another belt swap. Triple H did say there may be transfers between brands, though, which I guess is their way of just kind of covering their ass so they can move people from one brand to the other as they wish. So if Io Sky beats Bianca at Backlash and Io was already drafted to SmackDown, then in theory they could just simply move her back to Raw. Again, they make up the rules, so they can do pretty much whatever they want. The Street Profits, they were kept together. They were moved to SmackDown. I would love to hear the rationale for SmackDown, quote-unquote, selecting the Street Profits ahead of Imperium and their Intercontinental Champion. Edge goes to SmackDown, as does Bobby Lashley. All 4 members of the OC, including AJ Styles, who was back on TV Friday night, he is cleared as well, so whenever they're ready, he'll be back in the ring from his broken ankle. All 3 members of Damage Control also go to SmackDown, and the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, who will defend those titles against Kaden Carter and Katana Chance on NXT this Tuesday night. It should have been Carter and Chance moving up. I don't understand why they're being kept down there. I'm not saying that Alba and Isla are not ready to be on the main roster, but, you know, Carter and Chance, I mean, they've turned into a tremendous team over the last few years. And they've been tag team champions before. They've been kind of toiling away down there at the PC. I have no idea why they didn't get the call. But Roman Reigns gets 2 new opponents to beat in AJ Styles and Bobby Lashley, who are now on the same show. Drafted to Monday Night Raw are Cody Rhodes, Becky Lynch, and where Becky goes, so goes Seth Rollins, Gunther, Ludwig Kaiser, and Giovanni Vinci of Imperium. So the Intercontinental title moves back to Monday Night Raw, which means that Austin Theory and the U.S. title should be going to SmackDown tomorrow. The only real kind of injustice of moving Imperium from SmackDown to Raw is that we won't have Samantha Irvin doing the introductions anymore. When they come out to the ring, I'm going to miss that. Drew McIntyre is moving to Raw, as are Matt Riddle, The Miz, Shinsuke Nakamura, and the NXT Women's Champion, Indy Hartwell. So they drafted all of the Women's Champions away from Shawn Michaels. Had he known that that was going to happen, I don't think Indy Hartwell would have walked out of their Spring Breakin' show on Tuesday with that title. She almost didn't. I'll talk about why later on when I review the show. There's talk that they had these NXT picks decided upon weeks ago. That may well be the case. That doesn't necessarily mean that they clued in Shawn Michaels about them. So I think, looking at what they've done so far, after Friday at least, it was fairly even, I think, on both sides after night one. Quality-wise. Quantity-wise was a completely different story. SmackDown got way more names than Raw did, and Raw is the longer show. So I expect that to even out greatly after tomorrow night. There were even more draft picks announced on the SmackDown Lowdown show on Peacock yesterday morning from the pool that was eligible on Friday but went undrafted. Monday Night Raw drafted the Viking Raiders with Valhalla, Candice LeRae, Dexter Lumis, Maximum Male Models with Maxine Dupree, Natalya, Chelsea Green, Sonya Deville, Apollo Crews, back on the main roster from NXT, Zoe Stark from NXT, she'll be a solid addition to the women's division there, and JD McDonough from NXT, the former Jordan Devlin from NXT UK. And there's been, chatter online, maybe Balor recruits him for the Judgment Day. He was Finn Balor's protege. He met, I think Balor was like 21 years old when McDonough met him, and McDonough was 12, right? So they have a history together. I don't know that the Judgment Day needs more members, but I guess if they keep the feud going with the Judgment Day and the LWO, and we don't know where the LWO is going to land, if they're going to stay on SmackDown, if they may go to Raw as well. With Rey Mysterio, LWO has 4 members plus Zelina Vega. Judgment Day has 3. Plus Rhea Ripley, unless they add somebody. So I suppose that could work. SmackDown. Who did SmackDown draft, right? I just ran down that laundry list of names. Here's who SmackDown drafted on the SmackDown Lowdown on Saturday morning. Hit Row and Lacey Evans. Hoo boy. Well, there you go. SmackDown only got 4 names. Raw got 14. I'd say it's already starting to even out. The following stars have been declared as free agents who can appear on either brand. Omos with MVP, who they said smartly negotiated for Omos to be a free agent to maximize his visibility on both brands. Because if there's one thing people were asking for, it was maximizing the visibility of Omos on both shows instead of just one. Mustafa Ali, Dolph Ziggler, and I don't believe it, but there he was, Von Wagner from NXT, who I've been talking about quite a bit over the last couple of weeks in the NXT reviews, and what to do with him. And they just went and made him a free agent who is now eligible to appear on Raw and SmackDown. And I guess weave back and forth. First of all, you got Omos and Von Wagner both roaming back and forth between brands like Godzilla and King Kong. Why is Von Wagner a free agent? Why is Von Wagner a free agent and not somebody else from NXT? Again, they do these things. There's no real logic behind it. They just do it. Trying to explain it is just a futile attempt. There's no way to actually do it. But Von Wagner is... I mean, look, they have high hopes for him. I said the comparisons were made. Supposedly, they look at him as a future WrestleMania headliner. That was the report on him 2 years ago. That there were comparisons to him being a young Edge, and they see him one day headlining WrestleMania. God bless him. Good luck with that. The talent pool eligible for Night 2 on Raw tomorrow night is as follows. We have Akira Tozawa, Alpha Academy, Angel Garza, and Humberto Carrillo, Asuka, Austin Theory, who I'm sure will be landing on SmackDown with a U.S. title, Baron Corbin, Braun Strowman and Ricochet, Brock Lesnar, who I think is going to Monday Night Raw, Bronson Reed, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, Charlotte Flair, who I think should go where Bianca goes, and Bianca went to SmackDown, so that's where Charlotte Flair should go, and they can build to the eventual match. Dana Brooke, Elias, Emma, Johnny Gargano, who I think goes to Raw to reunite The Way from NXT. The Judgment Day, who they list as Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio, so they are keeping Rhea Ripley separate. She is also eligible tomorrow, but she is not being lumped in with the Judgment Day, so they could very well be broken up. Karrion Kross with Scarlett, who should go to Raw, because that's where Shinsuke Nakamura is now. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. LA Knight is eligible. I would have him on Monday Night Raw. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Nikki Cross, Piper Niven, Rick Boogs, Riddick Moss, who is Madcap no more. His profile was quietly changed back to Riddick. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. Seth Rollins, who has to end up on Monday Night Raw. Shotzi, Tamina, Tegan Nox. All 3 members of the Brawling Brutes. The LWO, including Rey Mysterio. The New Day, who they list as Kofi and Xavier, no mention of Big E. The Usos, Trish Stratus, Xia Li, and select NXT superstars. I look at the NXT pool of talent to pull for the pool. Grayson Waller, Cameron Grimes, Pretty Deadly, and Roxanne Perez. Those seem like the likeliest names to me. And the names that I mean, there's no reason for Grayson Waller to not get a look on the main roster. Cameron Grimes has been doing a whole lot of nothing now for months. He's been stuck in purgatory. Pretty Deadly, they were murdered, even though we didn't see it. They were murdered on NXT on Tuesday. That seemed like a write-off to me. And Roxanne, former women's champion in NXT, she took the pin in the triple threat match at Spring Breakin'. And there's been a lot of... and here's the reason also, as far as Roxanne is concerned, think about this. They had 3 NXT women in this year's Royal Rumble match. Indy Hartwell, Zoe Stark, and Roxanne Perez. 2 of the 3 have already been called up. So I would say Roxanne getting called up is pretty likely.